make a start on today's Cabinet meeting on the 1st of October. Can you believe it? It's October already. Okay, agenda item 1 is today's meeting of Cabinet. Announcements. So can I firstly like members and officers present in the room briefly introduce themselves so that those viewing and participating via Teams are aware of who is physically here in the meeting this afternoon. So I'll go around from my left. Tammy first.
Thank you, Leader. Tammy Davis, Democratic Services Officer. Nadine Jones, Democratic Services Officer.
Councillor Ken Phillips, Cabinet Member for Tourism and Wellbeing.
Afternoon, Tori Smith, Principal Officer, Children's Services, attending on behalf of Kerry Warren, Head of Service.
Hayley Shaw, Principal Officer for the Commission Youth.
Chairman Hall, Commission Officer.
Nicola Pearce, Director of Environment and Regeneration. Laura Owens, Neighbourhood Services Manager.
Good afternoon, Pnawn Hugh Jones, Director of Finance.
Good afternoon, Andrew Thomas, Director of Education, Leisure, Lifelong Learning.
Craig Griffiths, Head of Legal and Democratic Services.
Pnawn Norwy Daniel Cymryd Strategau, Director of Strategy and Corporate Services.
Good afternoon, Francis Brown, Chief Executive.
Afternoon, Neath Jenkins, Cabinet Member for Education and Early Years.
Hi, good afternoon, Number 1st Cabinet Member for Highways, Planning and Planning.
Good afternoon, Councillor Llywelyn, Deputy Leader of the Council.
And as you've already heard, I'm Councillor Stephen, Leader of the Talbot County Council. So can I welcome members of the public or press who may be viewing this meeting this afternoon? Can I ask you to please ensure that your microphones are switched off? You are here to observe the meeting only. Can I also ask members and officers to please ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting and that your microphones are switched to mute unless you are speaking. In addition, when asked to raise your hand, if members who are virtually attending this meeting could raise your electronic hand, and for members physically present, just raise your hand here in the room. Can I ask officers also please ensure to verbally add any additional comments from scrutiny committees if this has not already been introduced or included within your reports. We are not due to have a fire drill this afternoon, so should the fire alarm sound during the meeting, please make sure you leave the premises in the orderly manner. Thank you. Agenda item 3 is declarations of interest. Can I just ask now, are there any declarations of interest from members? Could you say what the items are and what the interest is? And then I'll ask you to complete a declaration of interest form, which is found on the members hub on the intranet, and Tammy will forward you the link if you declare an interest. So, and please speak to Democratic Services if you have any queries on this request. So are there any declarations of interest from members?
I see no hands, Leader.
Thank you, Tammy. To agenda item 4 are the minutes of our previous meeting. These minutes are the meetings of Cabinet on the 3rd of September 2025 and are on pages 5 to 8 of your agenda pack. They're before you this afternoon for approval of accuracy only. Can I just ask members if they have any comments on the accuracy, please? I don't see any. So I'm happy to propose they're a true record. Can I have a seconder, please?
Well, here, look at it, please, to second.
Thank you, Alan. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary, raising your hand, I will assume that you're content with the accuracy of those minutes.
Yes, no indications to the contrary, Leader, so those minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Tammy. Agenda item 5 is our forward work programme for 25-26. The forward work programme is on pages 9 to 10 and is here for noting. Agenda item 6 is public question time. I have received no notifications from the public to speak at today's meeting. Agenda item 7 is the Capital Budget Monitoring Report for 25-26 as to the end of June 2025. The report is on pages 11 to 28 and is here for decision this afternoon. So I'll just go to Hugh Jones now to see if he will introduce this report for us this afternoon. Hugh, please.
Thank you, Leader. So as you say, this is the capital programme monitoring report to the end of June. It sets out the fact that the original capital programme of £67 million as approved by Cabinet and Council has now increased to £90 million, primarily as a result of grant approvals that were received since the programme was set, and the changes are set out on pages 24 and 25 of your report. You'll also note from Appendix 1 that actual expenditure to the end of June is only £9 million at the moment, which seems unusually low, but actually there's always a lag between work being undertaken and expenditure incurred, so nothing to worry about at the moment, Leader. So that's it from me in terms of a brief introduction, and I'm happy to take any questions from Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Can I ask members if they have any questions on this paper, please? I don't see any. Okay. I now refer members to the recommendations which are on page 13 and 14 of your agenda pack. I'll propose this agenda item. Can I have a second, please?
Well, clearly look at it as pleased.
Thank you, Alan. Are there any abstentions from members? Again, I don't see any. So members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendations.
Yes, no indications. Really, so those recommendations have been approved.
Thank you again, Tammy. Agenda item 8 is the Treasury Management Monitoring Quarter 1, 25-26. The report is on pages 29 to 36 and is here for monitoring. So I'll just ask Hugh if he'd like to introduce this report as well, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Leader. So again, the standard quarterly Treasury Management Monitoring Report is here for information for Cabinet today. Follows the same format as we always bring. Nothing much really to add, Leader. Again, happy to take any questions. Diolch.
Thank you, Hugh. Members, have you any questions for you on this agenda item? Again, I don't see any hands raised or anybody in the room. So this report is for voting. Moving on to agenda item 9, the Revenue Budget Monitoring Report 25-26 at the end of June 2025. The report is on pages 37 to 60 and is here for monitoring. So I go back to Hugh once more to introduce this report, please, Hugh.
Thank you, Leader. So yes, as you say, this is the Revenue Budget Monitoring Report to the end of June and projecting the position up until the end of March 2026. At this point in time, we're projecting an overall £3.6 million overspend for the Council's budget, of which £2.2 million is in the Social Services, Housing and Community Safety Directorate. And the reason for that is primarily due to the fact that the number of people in external placement is increasing, and obviously the cost that providers are charging is increasing. I don't know, Andrew and his team are looking at ways they can reduce that position by the end of the year. And again, as a senior leadership team, we will be looking collectively and individually to make sure we get that position back in the right direction, Leader, to make sure we can try and deliver another balanced budget for the Council for this financial year. So again, that's all I wanted to say as a matter of introduction. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you once more, Hugh. I'll see if members have got any questions. I'd like to see Cabinet Member for Finance, Councillor Simon Noyle, has his hand up. Over to you, Simon, please.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I just want to come in and obviously at this stage for the last 3 reports, thank Hugh and his team for all the work that they've done to pull that information together for us. I think it's also important in terms of the documents that the added information that we requested very recently has been included in terms of the red, amber, green ratings information, provides good context into how the spend is progressing through the year. So thank you, Steve, and obviously we'll be with those monitoring reports. The next one, which will be the half-year ones in a couple of months' time. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Any further comments from members? I don't see any. I just want to reiterate what Simon has said. I think it's important that all members understand a more simplified way of how money comes in and goes out of the authority. So excellent piece of work done there, Hugh. Thank you, team, and everybody involved for us all. Diolch.
I'll take that back, Leader. Thank you, Cabinet Member. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll note this monitoring report also. So agenda item 10 this afternoon is the Public Service Ombudsman for Wales Annual Report 24-25. The report is on pages 61 to 82, and as I mentioned, it's here for monitoring. I got Hugh now to introduce, but I think it's great, obviously. So Craig, over to you for this report.
I'm more than happy to have it.
I can imagine, yeah.
So thank you, members. This is a report ultimately that we receive on an annual basis from the Public Service Ombudsman for Wales. That the numbers that they receive regarding the council and the complaints sent ultimately against members of local authorities or town community councils within the area. So a standard report that comes before you on an annual basis. So how do the commentaries needed? It does set up a number of statistics, and you've seen in the background details of this report. I've given a short overview as to what the nature of those concerns ultimately would be and how the number has fallen in different areas then as well. I've also included in the report some measures that we as a council are embarking on to make sure that we can bring those figures down even further in that regard, and that will be subject to ongoing work as well by myself and other officers throughout the council as well. So before you today, formal noting, in line with the requirements of the Public Service Ombudsman, it will also be produced for our Governance and Audit Committee in due course to give them the opportunity to comment, and we like to also take it to our Security Committee and Standards Committee as well to get all those members in those forums an opportunity to consider at the same time.
Thank you for that, Craig. Can I ask members, do they have any questions on this report? I don't normally have members that are not on the cabinet, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to allow a question on this report this afternoon, Carol.
It's okay. It's okay. Sorry, it's my first one back. I wasn't aware. I just thought that we might be able to learn some lessons from the two councils that didn't have any. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Any other member got any questions? No. So members, we note this as a monitoring report. Thank you, Craig. 11 Virgin. The report is on pages 83 to 128 and is here for a decision. So can I ask Victoria Smith, would you like to introduce this report, please, Victoria? Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. So the background information is contained within the papers. This is brought before you today to ask you to accept and approve the changes following public consultation.
Thank you very much. Members, do you have any questions on this paper? Alan? Councillor Swellen?
Oh, sorry, did Councillor Sean Harris want to come in? I do apologise.
Right, I can't see her. No, Sean, over to you, Alan.
Yeah, just wanted to very briefly say, Chair, that a tremendous amount of work and consultation has gone behind this report. It's been very, very thoroughly scrutinised and supported by scrutiny members. And I know that the chair of scrutiny has taken a particular interest in the strategy and, you know, has ensured that there's been good contributions across the board to making sure that we're getting this very, very important strategy correct. So it's a very significant document, and I'm sure we don't want to pass on our support, our appreciation to the team that have been behind it via Andrew and Victoria.
Thank you for that, Alan. Any other member, any comments? So we echo what Alan has said. I mean, you can't underestimate the work that's needed for this. And I know this is West Government directed and all across Wales. So I recently met with Newport, who have running out a very similar programme, and it's so important. But the work you're doing, Victoria, again, as Alan said, please take that back, because it's really important for us. So thank you. So I now refer members to the recommendations which are on page 86 of your agenda pack. I'm happy to propose. Can I have a second, please?
Paul O'Neill, very pleased to second.
Thank you, Alan. Any abstentions from members? Okay, I don't see any. So members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendations.
No indications to the contrary, Leader, so those recommendations have been approved.
Thank you, Tammy. Agenda item 12 is permission to remodel the overnight short break services for children with disabilities. The report is on pages 129 to 144 and is here for a decision. So I'll go back to Victoria now, who can introduce this report for us, please. Thank you.
So following consultation, we are seeking to bring the Family Link service in-house. So it's a respite service with foster carers. We're looking at bringing that into our wider fostering service. So that's for a decision today with the background papers. And I have my colleagues from commissioning with me today if there's any questions.
Thank you for that. Would you colleagues like to add anything to this paper? Because that's an important one. Okay, both. Okay. I'll go to members for any questions then. Councillor Griffiths?
Just one. It's about when you bring in house, you talked about bringing in the people who are actually working for the firms you're doing now.
And there are 2P considerations as part of the proposal.
Bear my ignorance, but they're self-employed, so where does that come with 2P?
In terms of 2P, the staff, the employed staff from the current commission service is subject to 2P considerations. The link carers, you were right, the foster carers, they're self-employed. We will fully engage with them and encourage them to come across to continue service delivery for the children.
Okay, that's great, thanks.
All right, Wyndham. Any other member? Again, an important service, isn't it? And the health and well-being of children and the customers, I shouldn't perhaps call them customers, but they are at the heart of what we're trying to do here, isn't it? And again, you know, this work is so important. So thank you for that. I don't see any other members with any questions. No. So I now remember the recommendations, which is on page 129 of your agenda pack. I'm happy to propose. Can I have a seconder, please?
Okay, look, then there's a place to say.
Thank you, Alan. Are there any abstentions from members? No, I don't see any. So members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendations.
Yes, again, no indications to the contrary. So those recommendations have been approved.
Okay, agenda item 13 is the Playground Improvement Programme. Members and officers, please note, should you wish to discuss or ask any questions relating to Appendix B of your reports, we will need to consider going into private session to exclude the public and the press this afternoon. So bear that in mind. The report is on page 145 to 178 and is here for a decision. I am now going over to both Laura Owens or Nicola Pierce if she wants to introduce it first. No, I can see it's going straight to Laura Owens. So I'll over to you, Laura, to introduce this report, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. So following a condition survey that was undertaken of all council-owned playgrounds, we've highlighted that there are 16 playgrounds in need of refurbishment over the next 12 to 36 months on safety grounds. More detailed information of this can be found in the report. Refurbishment cannot be covered in current revenue budgets, so we're looking to an investment of just 2.5 million in order to refurbish these sites. It's been initially proposed that the capital spend come from or could be acquired through the Neighbourhood Improvement Fund. However, if alternative funding is available, then we'd be happy to utilise alternative funding.
Thank you very much, Laura. Members, do you have any questions on this agenda item, please? Councillor Simon Noyle.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, and thank you, Laura, for setting out the report. I've got a question in relation to funding. Obviously, this place efficiency report has come together, has been badly required. And I wonder if Hugh could answer the question, please. Hugh, we've recently been provided with an end-of-year monitoring report, which indicated we had an underspend in the last financial year of about £2 million. Is it possible that we could use that underspend to help fund this playground refurbishment project? It's clear from the life expectancy consultancy report provided by the Play Company Co. and the integrated impact assessment that because of years of underinvestment and the lack of strategic approach taken by previous administration, that if nothing is done with these particular plaques, which cross the country, that they will be forced to close. We are seeing this lack of investment, lack of a sustainable approach, and lack of a strategic oversight from the previous administration, causing this new Rainbow Coalition to have to deal with some really difficult decisions to be made. We understand the assets, such as playgrounds, are vital to our communities, and we must seek to protect them. We read in the paper that the authority managed 48 playgrounds in total. 16 of those have been identified as falling into a category which now means that they will require significant repair or full refurbishment within the next 12 to 36 months. And without investment, these facilities risk closure on those safety grounds, and this is something we simply cannot allow to happen. The playgrounds are situated within the Armon Valley, the Avon Valley, Talbot, Neath, Sandfields, Britton Ferry, Skewin areas, and Cwm Llynfell. And I believe that the underspend that has been identified would demonstrate a good use of those funds to help maintain these playgrounds across communities within Talbot. Using the neighbourhood improvement funds that have been allocated would have meant that some areas are disproportionately funded against others. The neighbourhood improvement scheme is intended to make a real difference across all of our communities, and that is something we need to take forward strategically. I think if my figures are correct, we would need to allocate 2 million from the underspend and approximately 500,000 from the neighbourhood improvement fund to make this work. If you're agreeable to this change of funding, Hugh, I'd also like to add the recommendation that we look to fund more appropriately as part of the budget set-in process for next year, an ongoing full maintenance regime which covers regular inspections and essential works to maintain all of the 48 council-owned playgrounds. We must ensure that a sustainable investment into our playgrounds is in place. These areas provide essential facilities for residents within our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Noyle. Before you come in on that, Councillor Scott Jones, do you want to come in first, and then I'll have you to address Councillor Noyle's question?
Thank you, Leader. It's a very brief observation, if I may, and I'm sure I'll pick this back up when it comes before private. I totally agree with what Councillor Noyle just advocated, and I just want to put on record, that I urge the Cabinet to try and ensure, that the investment is there to deal with our play parks, massively of significance for our young people and communities across Neath Talbot. There's been huge underspends going into investment, going into these play parks for so many years, and I think it's over the last 14 years that I've been lobbying to have a plan going forward. So at that point, Leader, I just want to take the opportunity as well to thank Laura Owens, our Neighbourhood Services Manager, because a tremendous amount of work has gone into this report behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Hugh, over to you, please.
Thank you, Leader. So thank you for the question. And I suppose what I would say is that we've been looking at this investment proposal now for a number of weeks and months. And as we were sort of pulling it together, the Neighbourhood Improvement Programme was the only source of funding we could identify. But you rightly say, Councillor, you've recently reported to Cabinet a £2 million underspend at the end of the 24-25 financial year, which we've ring-fenced in reserve, so we could absolutely use that and to fund this programme instead of the Neighbourhood Improvement Programme, and that would free up £2 million for the Neighbourhood Improvement. And answer your question, yes, that would be perfectly acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Before Craig, I would probably come to you to readdress the proposal on how we word things, but can I just check with other Cabinet members if they wanted to raise any comments or questions on this agenda item? Councillor Jenkins?
Yeah, just to say really, referring to the one in Hale or Coed Kai, having been brought up in Cwm Llynfell, I'm aware that local community councils fund a great deal, but that is the only proper playground in the area as opposed to zip wires, etc. And I think it's vital that we do support these services.
Thank you, Nia. Anybody else? Colin?
No, I think that the funding solution is a very pragmatic way of ensuring that we can actually fund this quite ambitious programme. And it is important that the playgrounds that are spread across the county ensure that a range of our communities are able to benefit from this long overdue investment. We're making sure that we're investing in children and young people's facilities for the future.
Thank you, Alan. And from me as well, I can see most Cabinet members are in agreement, if not all. I'll check that first. Any Cabinet member who wants to raise a concern about this proposal? I don't see any, so that means we're all in agreement. I'm also in agreement. I think it is the best way forward for us to protect these parks long term and a plan that we can have going forward. So I'm going to go to Craig Griffiths now for wording on how we deal with this proposal. This comes from Councillor Simon Noy. Craig, please.
To the points I picked up then from Councillor Noy. One is about the change of source of funding, and the other one being about future funding being made available down the line, ultimately for future revenue support. My suggestion ultimately, we don't put a recommendation on that at the moment. We just note in the minutes ultimately that that's what you've stipulated, because that will form part then of future budget discussions that will be taking place over the next couple of months, and it's a direction of travel, so that will be recorded in the minutes then that you put that forward today. What I would suggest, members, is that you would make a recommendation ultimately to the recommendation within your report that would read that capital funding of 2 million be taken from the underspends identified from 24-25 financial year, and the remainder be allocated from the Neighbourhood Improvement Programme Fund to facilitate refurbishment of the 16 playgrounds listed below. So it's just about changing the source of funding, which is ultimately coming through that option. So what I would suggest is if somebody proposes that as an amendment, you then confirm that you are comfortable with that being the amendment. We then vote on the entirety then of the motion for it. So is a member happy to confirm or propose that as a way forward?
May I ask Simon? Yeah, go on. I was going to ask if you are you happy to do that?
Yes, I'm happy to propose that. Thanks, Steve.
And a seconder?
Happy.
Go on.
I've got that. Member, I presume you are happy with that. Does anyone wish to vote against that particular proposal? So that becomes the motion going forward. So the motion then is as set out in your papers as amended on page 147. So somebody just propose that in its entirety.
Go on, Simon.
I'm happy to propose that in its entirety, Craig. Thanks.
Okay, and seconder?
Yeah, go on. To be consistent.
Yeah, happy to second.
Then members, anyone wish to vote against? Anyone wish to abstain? We can take that then as being approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your help, Craig. Very, very, very helpful. Thank you indeed. Okay, then. I move on to agenda item 15, which is the directive to continue the development of the local food partnership. The report is on pages 179 to 192 and is here for a decision. So, Rhiannon Crowers, can I ask you to present this report, please, Rhiannon?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Chair. Yes, this report is to seek members' approval for direct award for the region, enabling them to continue to facilitate the Neath Talbot local food partnership on behalf of Neath Talbot Council. All the detail is in the report. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhiannon. Yes. Oh, any members got any questions for Rhiannon on this report? I don't see any. Okay, I now refer members to the recommendations starting on page 180 of your agenda pack. I'm happy to propose the agenda. Any extensions from members? I don't see any. So members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I assume that you're in favour of the recommendation.
Yes, no indications to the contrary. Those recommendations have been approved.
Thank you again, Tammy. Agenda item 15, urgent items. I have received no urgent items for this afternoon. Agenda item 16 is access to meetings. So the access to meetings report is on page 193 to 198 of your report packs. I now propose that we move into private session. Could I have a seconder, please?
Okay, no, please.
Thank you, Alan. Any abstentions from members? I don't see any. So members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of now moving into private session.